Hello,
Okay,
Huey.
Jim,
It's
take it
Irving
away.
Deskovich
I
here.
will. Thank you, Huey, for jumping in on that. I really appreciate it. We have about 20 odd minutes, a little bit more than that, before the meeting officially starts. So we open up for the help desk. And let's see how many we have right now. It looks like we have 5, 10, 15, 20, almost 25, 24 people attending. And let's open it up for questions. Who has a question?
Is there any Quicken expert available?
Quicken experts, of which I am not. Is anybody else a Quicken expert?
You got to have money for Quicken. I don't have any.
Got a couple, you got, Irving has his hand up.
Yeah, but let's see if we got a Quicken person here. Anybody a Quicken person? No, I'm sorry, Jim.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I use Quicken, but I just do a very simple basic. I don't do much. I mean, I just use it to balance my bank accounts.
Yes, yeah.
Well, my
Have
question
you
is, very-
tried asking Google?
I've tried asking Google.
No, I don't use Quicken.
Have you tried Copilot?
No.
Try Copilot, ask it the same question that you would ask a person, and it'll come back and should give you some information. May not be accurate, but it should come back with an answer for you.
Okay, thanks.
Irving, your hand is up.
Yes. I hope you can hear me.
Yes?
Can you hear me?
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have the I can't seem to get the video going. All it's doing is dancing blue dots.
Yeah, we see that.
So anyway, that's my problem or question, how to get it going again. I heard you giving some instructions earlier. And I was when I click on the three dots in the upper right-hand corner, I see a whole list of things here. But I'm not seeing anything as far as video is concerned.
Down at the bottom where it's got a little camera and it says video, there's a little up arrow next to it.
Okay, I've got it now. Okay, I went there.
Okay, click that and then make sure you've got the right camera chosen.
Is your camera
under
connected?
video settings?
Okay, so I went to video settings
No,
and
not video settings, just select the right camera.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I only have one camera on here. I'm used to seeing several. Sorry. Yeah, it should say at the top, select a camera.
oh, I see. Okay.
It should list the
okay.
cameras available.
Oh,
There you
go.
I did it. Thank you. What happened was
Irving.
that it had a second camera on there.
What did you do? You found a second camera?
Yeah, this was from one of the old Tech for Seniors program. There was a story about turning a cell phone into into a camera. And I guess somehow it got going again this evening.
Oh.
So
Yeah, there was a program called Erie Run Webcam. If you want to switch
that's it.
by
The
using the
webcam, that's right.
by using the keyboard, you can use Alt and N, and you can switch from one camera to the next.
Like watching a baseball game, huh?
Okay, well, thank you very much.
We
Well, you're
solved
welcome. I wish
solved two so far.
I don't know what happened to me, but maybe the same thing kind of worked for me. Thank you. But there is what Huey pointed out. There's the three dots in the upper right corner of Zoom. And if you click on the three dots, you get a menu of choices. But if you go to the menu bar at the bottom of the Zoom window and you click on the up arrow next to video or next to microphone, you get a different menu. And Huey was very smart to say, click at the bottom menu bar to develop that menu because you get the choices of the different cameras that are hooked in. The three dots that I was seeing in your window before you connected implied to me that it was searching for a camera that it could not find. So maybe you had a camera selected that was no longer connected. And then when you clicked on the camera, your second choice, it was connected and it appeared. Does that sound pretty reasonable?
Yes, it does.
Okay, good.
Definitely.
Well, except that if it's a camera that's not connected, it doesn't show up on the list. It's not, if it doesn't have anything in for it.
You know, that
it will
reminds me,
remember it.
if I could bring it up about printers, you can have multiple printers connected. Some are wireless and some may be connected with a cable. If you get a new printer, the old printer driver doesn't go away. It's still there and may be listed as a printer. And if you try to use it, it just won't work because it's not connected or it can't find it. And you may get those three dots vibrating that it can't find the printer. So you may want to consider, as in my case, I had a couple, three old printers that I don't have anymore. I need to go in there and delete those printer drivers so they're not an option for me anymore. Any other comments about multiple devices, printers, or cameras?
It was good advice you just gave. I went through the process of installing a new printer, and what happened was I'd get a message continually that it was offline until I was able to work my way around it.
The other consideration is primary designation, a primary device. And that is if you have multiple devices, and this works on your iPhone as well, you can pick a particular option or device or channel or whatever as being the primary or default to be used unless you pick something different. So your printers, for example, you can have a primary printer designated as being the primary printer to use if you do a print within a program that doesn't give you options to select a printer. You just want to print. So you use the program to print. What printer is it going to use? It may not give you a choice. It may just use your primary printer. And that goes for other things as well. Does anybody else have any experience with primary devices on their iPhone or PC?
Jim, sometimes when either Windows updates or a program updates, it changes the default. And so that's why sometimes you got to double check and make sure it's the one that's chosen is the one that you want to use.
If we could get back to printers, Huey, where would I go to find the different printer drivers, and how would I know to delete which ones that I no longer have? Is the printer easily identified as, for example, a Canon printer that I don't have anymore? I could delete that?
It would be in Device Manager.
Device Manager, thank you.
Device Manager, but you can also find it if you go to Setup. Printers is I believe, one of the headings, and it'll list all of the printers you have installed, and you can delete any of the ones that you don't have anymore.
And if you delete one, it would delete the driver as well, or does it hang around?
I don't know whether it deletes the driver, but it doesn't make it accessible.
Okay,
through
that's enough.
the setup.
Yeah, that's good enough. Very good. Very interesting. Okay, another question from somebody. Anybody?
Just a word about printers. My next door neighbor caught me in the driveway the other day and said, "We got a printer and we can't make it work." And they're snowbirds, and they had just come back down, and after a couple of months, and they couldn't connect to it. And so I went over and I tried for about an hour, trying all kinds of things, all the things I knew to try, and I couldn't make it work. And I said, the network isn't saying it was an HP, and you can't connect to the printer. You have to see it through the network, through the Wi-Fi, and it just wasn't being seen. So I suggested they go back to where they bought it, which was Best Buy, which is a block away. And they did, and they tried to get it to work, and they finally determined that the printer was bad. And so they swapped it out and got a better one.
I have found that, but just recently, in fact, I had to do it just a little while ago, that every once in a while it'll tell me that my printer needs attention, and I have no idea what it means by that. What
It's
kind of
lonely.
attention does it mean? But I have one other time it happened and I unplugged it for a little while, plugged it back in, and it worked. And
Yeah,
that
you-
happened to me this evening. I had something I needed to print and it wouldn't print. It said a printer needed attention, so I went over and unplugged it for about 5 minutes, plugged it back in, and about 5 minutes later, it turned, or less than that, it turned on and printed out what I needed.
You have to pat it on the head a couple of times.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, I will do that from now on. I didn't do that at the time, but I did say thank you.
Yeah, you have to pay attention to your printer.
Yeah, there's some
Yes.
magic involved. You have to say the magic word. I have one more quick thing to add about printers. I was at Costco a few weeks ago, and they have an Epson EcoTank printer for $200, which uses a tank and not cartridges. Does anybody have any experience with using a non-cartridge printer?
Go for it. Buy it.
That's
Yeah,
what I was
the-
thinking.
Those,
It comes with a syringe thing, that you squeeze and to refill the tank. But
I have a customer that's been printing on one of those for 2 years and they haven't bought a new cartridge yet.
Oh, that's great.
Jim, I
Joel,
have
did you have a wave there? Joel Sandberg?
Jim, I
Yeah,
have
let me make
Epson-
sure I'm here. Did I turn mute off properly? I now own an Epson EcoTank 380. It's probably one model up than the one you were describing at Costco. Mine has a automatic document feeder on it. I have it also connected to my 3 Windows PCs and it's working fine. And I've got separate screen from computer, so that's why I'm looking back and forth. It does work. I think I'm saving money on ink. I'm about 4 months into it and have not refilled it. But I do know that there's a difference in print quality between the Epson EcoTank and the Brother color laser I've been using for 5 years. The EcoTank does not have as high a saturation of color. So if you're printing black and white, the EcoTank does fine. If you're printing things that have small spaces of color, you're fine. If you're printing photographs, but I don't use photographic paper yet. My wife prints posters and sometimes does a full color background. And for comparison, we printed the same PDF file on the Epson EcoTank and the Brother laser. The deep blue was much more deep blue on the laser. The deep red was much more deep red on the laser. So it depends upon what you're going to do. If you're a photographer, if you're an artist, the EcoTank may not meet your needs. If you're office doing black and white words, your Word documents, your Excel spreadsheets, I am perfectly happy with the EcoTank. I don't know how long it's going to take me to run out of a cartridge. I used to spend $250 every quarter for the toner cartridges and the Brother laser. So far, I'm still using the original bottles that came with my EcoTank. Be careful, there are 3 or 4 models of the EcoTank, depending upon what features you choose to purchase.
Oh, thank you, Joel. What a great rundown to give us that option. And yes, it's more, I typically get the cheapest printer I can because I'm not a photographer. But for $200 to save ink cost over, say, a year, I'm sure that would take care of it. So
Obviously
for that
matters how
rundown.
much you print.
Yes.
Jim, I've had the EcoTank for about a year and a half now, and I love it. The ink bottles, and they come in what I would classify as spill-proof bottles. Um, Basically, you open up the tank and put the bottle on top, twist it, and squirt until it's full. And you do it with all the different colors, and it's been working wonderfully. The only thing I have found with it, there is, if you clean it, every once in a while you should clean it. There is a disposal tank in the printer, at least in the model I have, that accumulates that disposable ink. And sometimes it's a little messy, but you have to clean that. But that's the only disadvantage. I cleaned it once, and in the year and a half I've had it, and I've had no issues.
When you clean it, Bill, it doesn't clean itself automatically. Then you have to do something to clean it.
There's a cleaning cycle it will do, and then an extreme cleaning cycle. But it's squirting ink through it, but not onto paper. It's squirting it into this, let's call it a disposal tank. Okay, and I got this printer used, and that disposal tank was completely saturated. So I'm familiar with cleaning it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, very good. Good news.
Also, take note that the EcoTank is not as fast as some other printers as my laser. So are you printing 20-page documents, or are you printing 2-page documents? Are you printing 20 copies or 1 copy? To me, the time for the first page doesn't bother me. Occasionally, we have to print 20 copies and you plan on getting a cup of coffee.
Bill, one quick question on your printer that you've been using it. Joel mentioned about photographs. Have you printed documents that had pictures in the document, for example, that you're not photography type quality pictures, but you're using pictures and images on your documents, right?
Yeah, I printed a Christmas card on it, which had 5 or 6 pictures in it. It wasn't super quality, but it wasn't bad. Could live with it.
Okay, thank you.
May I add something to this?
Please.
There's a total difference between an inkjet printer and a laser printer. And like I said, I know the Epson inkjets have been involved for a while. If you're a photographer, there are some really nice inkjet printers out there. I have a laser also. I only use my laser when I'm printing up brochures or pamphlets or something. And you're right, the laser will give you a better color than some of the inkjets unless you get a photo inkjet. I also have a Canon Pro because I am a photographer, and it definitely prints nothing but photos because I belong to a camera club. And this one here uses about 7 different cartridges for each different color. Like I said, but there's a major difference between a laser jet and an inkjet printer. You're spraying ink on, and a laser jet fuses the ink onto the paper. So that's why you get a better quality with a laser.
Yes, and there's a price difference between
Yes.
them, so you decide what you want to pay for. Yes.
And then inkjets here again, your regular inkjets, buying the cartridges, they do get expensive. And from my understanding, I have one member in my computer club that has a tank, and it says it's more economical. It all depends on how you use it.
Okay, thank you for that comment.
KJ, have you tried using electrostatic printers or dye sub?
I have a dye sub, I have a photo booth, and I have a dye sub in my photo booth.
Yeah. Have you used electrostatic printers?
No, not electrostatic, but the dye subs are really great because here again they come out with really photographic pictures. But like I said, they're a little expensive also. Like I said, I have a photo booth that has a dye sub laminated printer in it.
Yeah, the electrostatic ones are even more expensive.
Yes. I think the
Okay.
one in my laser printer is about $1,000 just for the printer.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
A little trick I learned with printers is, most of them have 4 different colors. And I created a sheet which has yellow, the four different colors band the whole way down the sheet. And if don't use your printer often, to keep it from clogging, you make copies of that sheet once a week, once a month, kind of thing, to keep the tubes all working properly.
Hmm.
So it's a good trick for if you're not going to use a printer in a while, run that once a month at least to keep the tubes from clogging with ink.
Yeah, I made that mistake with my Canon photo printer during the pandemic because my camera club was shut down and I wasn't printing any pictures for competition, and it took me a while to clean the inkjet, all the cartridges. Like I said, it has 7 different cartridges in it.
Bill, I'll ask you a question. My inkjet, Epson inkjet is behind me. And about every hour, it seems that it's running the motor inside, running back and forth. I'm saying it's probably cleaning itself. Am I misunderstanding? Or is it eating itself to pieces?
Some printers do that.
Okay, thank you.
Mine
My
at 2
LaserJet
o'clock,
even does it.
mine at 2 o'clock every morning, I hear it clean itself. And that's why, and it's a good idea not to unplug them or turn them off.
Yeah.
Just let them sit there. So it's keeping it so the everything
Clean.
is fresh and the pieces and parts stay lubricated.
It
Thank
keeps the
you.
cartridge from drying out.
Yep.
If you
And
turn
of
it off,
course
that's what
it-
happened. That would happen to my Canon photo printer. I turned it off during the pandemic.
It probably uses some ink to clean itself too.
Yes,
There's
it
nothing
does.
else in there to use that's fluid other than the ink itself, so. All right, well, I think we nailed printers to the wall today. Thank you guys very much, and ladies, and thank you all for your attention.